Welcome, everybody, to this week's beautiful community call. It feels like I haven't done one of these in at least 7 years, but it's only been a month. So please forgive me if I'm a bit rusty. Let's give people some time to trickle in and join. And today with me, I have a very special guest. I think I've never had a one-on-one discussion on any of these community calls with a proper full-blown Nymja before. So it's very exciting to have you on, Prasan. How is it going?
Yeah, hi, I'm doing well. How are you? Yeah, hanging around for the weekend.
Same. Can't wait for it to finally happen. Thanks for coming on. Quick disclaimer, this week's news roundup will be somewhat more long than usual because there's quite a bit to talk through. Even the smaller news items are pretty big news this week. There's a lot to talk about, so let me get started with the news roundup. First big piece of news, I think this is actually the most exciting announcement I've ever made on these community calls, at least this year, but possibly ever. So as many of you have probably seen from our announcement, Nym Shipyard has been announced. This is probably the biggest thing we've announced ever when it comes to Nym as a project and also me as head of community. So it's very, very exciting. A bit of history on Shipyard. Maybe I should start with that. So late last year, we launched a program called Shipyard Academy. And its goal was to provide the community with a fun and interactive way to learn about Nym, its tech and vision. I made sure to communicate it at the time that it's basically a bit of a test on our side. We wanted to see how it goes and whether the community likes something like an initiative like this. But as it turns out, you really liked it. We got overwhelmingly positive community feedback. So this year we're going even bigger when it comes to Shipyard. So what remains the same, if you already joined Shipyard, then you'll know that it's a 6-week educational program. There are 3 stages to it. And you can basically learn everything there is to know about Nym and also privacy. And you can get lectures and materials straight from the Nym team. That includes masterclasses and all sorts of extra activities as well, which we call homeworks. And then you get to take quizzes and prove that you cleared each stage. And then what changed compared to Shipyard Academy is, first of all, the name, which will take some time for me to unlearn. So please forgive me if I keep calling it sometimes Shipyard Academy because it's been renamed to Nym Shipyard. That's the new name. Also, this time around, it was co-created with our community. So both Pineapple Hive and Not Just Verify were actively involved in the design and also content creation for Shipyard, which was beautiful to see because for context, Pineapple Hive itself sort of emerged from Shipyard last year, and it was a really nice Inception type thing to co-design this iteration of Shipyard with Pineapple and also, of course, our old and good friends Not Just Verify. Also, the prize pool and the general scale of the project is way, way bigger. So this time around, as you probably saw from the blog post, the prize pool is going to be 2.5 million Nym tokens. Like I said, we changed the scope a little bit. So last time, Shipyard Academy was a thing of its own. It was something that you joined, then you completed and had some fun in the process. It was a thing of its own. But this time around, we are aiming for it to be just the start of something. If you just want to join Shipyard, and have some fun and maybe earn some tokens in the process, you can do that. Absolutely, it's your place to do that. But if you're eyeing to get a bit more seriously involved with Nym, and maybe you want to start your business operating Nym infrastructure, or you want to join the Nymja Ambassador program and become a Nymja, or you're looking to build stuff that runs on Nym, our privacy infrastructure, well, Shipyard will be setting you up to do that. And it also sets you up to join our various other programs, such as the Grants Program, Delegators Program, and the Nymja Ambassador Program. So it's, for a lot of people, hopefully, it is going to be more a start of something than a thing of its own, which is also super duper exciting. Early bird registrations will start on the 18th of September. General registrations will start on the 25th of September. And Shipyard itself will kick off in October. So make sure to read the blog post and visit shipyard.nymtech.net to sign up and get email notification as soon as registration becomes available. And also, we're going to be dropping all kinds of details on our channels over the coming weeks. So make sure to stay tuned and keep your eyes peeled. Moving on to our next news item. So we've released a blog post titled Mixnets, What Are They Good For? So this is continuing a back to basics series that we've been doing, which I have been enjoying personally a lot. We basically go back to unpack some fundamental Nym-related topics that may be very obvious to us, but they are really nice to have in a written form. So this is part of that series of blog posts. It is focused around the use cases, the key use cases of the mixnet, or basically mixed nets, but specifically the Nym mixnet, and why these use cases are important. So make sure to give it a read. It's a good read. Oh, and I forgot to mention that all of the things that I'm mentioning during this call, you can find links to in the Nym stage chat. Moving on to the next news item, which is that the Nym design contest winners have been announced. So this was a really fun contest. We got way more submissions than we anticipated. So overall, we got 120 eligible submissions, really amazing sticker packs, mascots, infographics, videos, and designs, all of that great stuff. So it was really, really nice to see, and it was a very fun contest. So thanks for everybody who participated. You can find a link to all of the submissions in the Nym stage chat. We created this nice little gallery on a Discord channel where you can see all the submissions. There are some really fun ones. So for this reason, we actually decided to up the prize pool a little bit, and also to reward 23 participants in total, and also give out rewards for the Community Choice Awards to not one person, but 6 people, to sort of as an homage to this amazing contest. So huge thanks for everybody who participated, and we hope to see you back with our upcoming new contests. And also, of course, Shipyard. This is funny because this is a huge piece of news, yet it feels small compared to the announcement of Shipyard. But the new Nym website is live, so please make sure to check it out. We're looking for feedback. For context, guys, this has been a long time coming. There's a lot of work that went to the new website. I'm particularly amazed by how it looks. I think it's way, way better than the previous one. But of course, it's brand new, so we may have missed something. Some info may be incorrect, or there may be typos and all of that stuff. So if you find any of that, then please make sure to let us know on any of our channels. And just general feedback on the design and functionality is always welcome. Also, huge piece of news. One of the key pain points of our community for the longest time has been swapping native Nym tokens to ERC20 and vice versa. So this has been a pretty tedious and complicated process. And I'm happy to report that swap will come to the Nym wallet itself. So soon you'll be able to swap tokens in a way, way more simple way than using Gravity Bridge. So stay tuned for that. A blog post with further details has been shared in the Nym stage chat. Now, lastly, I'm making up a PSA to you guys, specifically to our node operators. So please listen up if you're operating a Nym mixed node, because possibly some pretty important changes are coming to operating a node, preparing for mass adoption. So I'm going to keep this very simple. I'm not going to go into the technical nitty-gritty here. This is not the call for that. But basically, right now, the Nym mixnet operates with a whitelist or allow list model, which means that only a specific given list of IPs can be accessed through the mixnet. Now, for mass adoption and the imminent launch of the VPN, as you know, the Nym VPN is coming very soon. The network also needs to become general purpose. And for it to become general purpose, it will likely have to change to a blacklist deny list model, meaning instead of allowing a specific list of IPs, it will likely deny a shorter list of known bad IPs. This is like a big shift in how the mixnet works fundamentally. Now, additionally, there's also something ongoing called Project Smoosh, which you can read about in the blog post that will be shared shortly in the stage chat. Very quickly put, Project Smoosh is about creating a situation where there will only be one binary for Nym nodes, so there won't be a separate binary for mixed nodes, gateways, and other types of nodes. And basically all Nym nodes will act as mixed nodes, gateways, and VPN nodes simultaneously. Now, Project Smoosh and the potential switch to a blacklist model would mean that all Nym nodes would have would have functionality similar to a Tor exit node, if you're familiar with that. This would be an important change. And in some regions, not a lot of regions, but in some regions, may come with some legal challenges as well. Tor has decades of experience in this. They have, of course, a lot of the Tor community have been running Tor exit nodes for a really long time, and there hasn't been any legal consequences to exit node operators. But regardless, it's of course an important change. We would like to open a dialogue with Nym node operators about it. With the help of some node operators who we already spoke to, we're putting together a document explaining the reasons for this possible change and also what it would mean for you. And this document will be shared early next week. So please keep your eyes peeled for that. We'll also put out a survey to node operators, possibly on our Node Setup Help Chat Telegram channel. That's what we usually use for these things. So we would love to hear your feedback if you're operating a node and have a proper dialogue about this change with our node operator community. So please give the document a read once it comes out and also fill out the survey. And if you have any questions, make sure to bring them to the Devil AMA, which will be on Wednesday next week. So let's discuss it. And if we see a lot of interest and a lot of questions from our node operator community, then the week after, so not next week, but the week after, we're also going to be setting up a dedicated AMA to talk about running an exit node and what it means and all of that good stuff. So please, let's get the conversation going. And huge thanks for our node operators who already shared their feedback, because it is shaping the document that we'll end up putting together. All right. Well, with that, this was the big news roundup that I was talking about. I hopefully everybody's as excited as I am about all of the stuff that I just listed. And this brings me to my lovely guest today, which is, again, an equally exciting conversation for me, because I don't think I've ever had one of these nice public one-to-ones with any of our Nymja ambassadors. So you're the first, Prasan. How is it going?
First of all, thank you for having me here. And I'm also very excited to be here. And one of the first cadets to be, to be at community calls, speaking around privacy. It feels really good.
Wait, are you a cadet? You're not a cadet, you're a Nymja, right?
Yeah. Just miss a word. Sorry, it won't happen.
You're a full-blown Nymja, which is quite the title.
Yeah.
With that note, would you care to introduce yourself? What should people know about you?
At my heart, I am a community guy, right? Loves, just sitting around communities, building them and growing with them. But as a professional, I am more of a cybersecurity researcher working in mostly with international or offshore accounts or offshore servers, that how they can be implemented with AI and how AI can, means be secured for securing the servers. Along with that means, I have researched around cyber kill chains where you identify the last post that how the cybercrime has taken place, and a couple of more researches that has been published around USA and Australian papers. So that's the thing. And followed by that, to give back to the community, we run Cyberjunk Foundation, where we try to bridge the gap between research and students. So that's the thing. And we have around 3 universities from Africa that back us for this purpose. And along with that, right now, I'm just completely occupied with the Nym because of the personal project that I'm building that I will share soon. But right now, just studying that how it is, and on the same end, contributing that how I can improve Nym in India, or how I can, build a big community in India that supports privacy and security.
Amazing. Actually, I think I'll have a few questions about that for you. But first, let's talk a bit about how you found out about Nym, and why did you become a Nymja as well?
Well, finding about Nym was, it was one of a messages that popped up on my Twitter, so that was quite an interesting story in itself, because I was just scrolling through the Twitter and I just, if you know someone by Sama, so they just texted me up that like this is the program and they are looking for someone who can contribute to the community, and he just recommended that you should apply for it. And after that, as soon as I got to know that, okay, so something in Web3 is around privacy and which relates to security, I was like, okay, I'm going to spend time in it. And I was just, followed by that, the next moment I saw myself, being indulged in how they are working and how the tech works and how actually they are, means delivering the privacy. So that's the thing. And followed by that, even the form, I kept it open for at least 2 days. That should I apply for it or should I not? So like just reading through the blog posts that were there. So it was quite a bit story because, whenever as a security analyst or security professional, whenever something or an anonymous message or with a link comes up, it's like, okay, guards up, what's this? But later on, it turns out that it was one of the best things that I ever found on Twitter. So.
It's amazing that you stumbled upon us, and the rest is history, as they say, right?
Yeah, I have thanked him so many times. That, okay, thank you for introducing me to this ecosystem, to this culture, because all the great folks like Mykola that have made it such a smooth journey for me. So I thank Sama for so many times.
So that brings you to being the Nymja of the India region. So can we talk a little bit about what the tech scene looks like in India, and also maybe Web3 and crypto adoption? So what does India look like today?
India has a huge diversity of developers. When we talk about from a development perspective, right? At India have great number of developers who are working in Web3, who are building great projects that means can leverage a lot of things around Web3 cultures, because India as a whole country is quite diverse in itself, and along with that, finding a good Web3 culture is itself a big task. And the developers, when they come together to form a community so that they can teach the folks around them at what actually Web3 is and why it is revolutionizing the internet that we use today, it just makes it so beautiful. And when we come to the part of crypto and Web3, we have a quite number of projects that are being built in India, and along with that, quite number of investors, that are looking forward to invest in such projects. That okay, so this is something that we want to build, right? So it's booming right now. There are multiple initiatives by international projects that are happening in India. We have everyone wants to support so much that okay, they want something out of India, and it makes me feel good that okay, that Web3 culture is booming so much, and we are becoming the active daily users of Web3. It's great, like it's totally active when it comes to developers, when it comes to the crypto traders. So it's really good.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of buzz and hype going on in India. That's really good to hear. Now, as a Nymja, you've been doing some really good work on bridging Solana and Nym, so our two communities. Can we talk a little bit about this and so what you've been doing and also what your motivation is for this?
Yeah. It's a good thing, So, like I said, that I have been working around a project where, Nym played a crucial role. So, Solana is one of the, as a Web3 daily user, I would say that Solana is one of the things or one of the projects that drive Web3 culture in India at some level, right? Right now, I am trying to integrate Nym with Solana at their base level. Like their wallets are capable of doing it, right? They are like we can go through sock puppets and all those things. But I want to do more than that. So right now, I'm trying to build an integration that how we can use or Nym can be laid at the very foundation of Solana. That all the traffic that's through the goes through the network, just flows through the Nym. And for that, I've been talking to developers and reading around a lot of papers, that we have around Nym. So that's a really good thing. And followed by that, in the upcoming week, we have Solana Hacker House in India. That's like India's one of the biggest tech events where, there will be multiple thousands of developers and VPs coming there. Before that, I want to have something that I can, present and talk around with the folks of the developers present there that, okay, we are building this and, find potential developers there too. So that's something like it just motivates me for the same thing and it just lets me keep go with the momentum.
So you're saying bringing network level privacy to the Solana ecosystem, right?
Yeah.
That sounds incredibly exciting.
Yes, it is. Even when we talk at the Matrix channel, right? So it was like quite a boom that okay that I have been in touch with the Devrel here. So he's a like really great person, and he also said that he's also new to the culture and he's also studying out the project. So right now we are like planning that how we can strive this together and get on something that we can build together as an ecosystem. So
that is very exciting indeed. I hope you're going to give that talk in English. If so, then please send me the recording. I'm super curious.
Yeah, sure. Like I will share recording links maybe by the next week where it's in a semi-local language, like it's English but somewhere it touches Hindi for the local education where we talk. I recorded a podcast around it for privacy and Nym is that's gonna be great. So I will really share that around on Discord.
All right, stay tuned for that, folks. Once we get it from Prasan, I will be sharing it around on our channels as well. Keep your eyes peeled. On to a bit of the topic that gave the title to this call. So you're a security engineer, right?
Right.
What does that mean? What does a security engineer do? You sort of talked about that a little bit, but let's give some general gist to people.
So when it comes to security, right, it's like it's in itself is a very wide domain. And when someone says that they are or he or she is a security engineer, so that's like he's a researcher, trying to design, trying to implement a lot of things or, designing multiple security measures for company. So at the core, we usually design, we implement, and, we maintain security measures within an IT firm that, the internet or the network stays safe and the data don't get access unauthorized. So, and we try to protect the network from the attacks or the vulnerabilities, right? But again, like for the fun fact that means if someone knows that you can't make a network secure because there is always a human error of 4%. Like that's a huge number when it comes to security.
All right. So my big question to you, which I think is a really fun one, is about security versus privacy, because I think these two concepts go hand in hand. They are very similar to a lot of people, but they are not the same, despite what many laymen would think, including myself till recently. So what is the difference between privacy and security, and how do these two concepts, how are they connected?
So that's a very interesting topic, that we can talk around for hours, but like keeping it a community call. So when we talk about it at the very base level, so when we see it as a bigger picture, they both seem to be just one thing, that if someone is very private, they are very secure, or if someone cares about security very much, so they might be private. But when it comes to the real world, that's not the thing, right? Because cybersecurity refers to the practice of protecting the computer systems, right? You are protecting the network, you're protecting programs from unauthorized access, data, damages, and attacks. But on the same hand, privacy refers to the right of individuals to control their personal information, right? Because you can be secure, but your data might not be private, right? And it has been case for so many times. Or you can be private, but you don't know that when your data is gonna get leaked. That has happened with the great companies, like if you have heard of Domino's. So recently it happened with the Domino's, right? Million users' data was lost and sold on internet, and you can check it up. Have I been tuned? Like if you guys want to, like even my data got sold. So that's the thing. Like that's how tricky the cloud of security and privacy is. And privacy is completely different because we usually mispraise, like I did with the cadet thing, for security. And at as a user, like we'll technically live in a digital world, right? So being secure is still at the second level, but being private and securing your identity or protecting your identity should be your priority, or should be someone's priority, while leveraging the benefits of the digital world. So that's the thing.
You partially already answered this next question, but I think it's worth exploring a bit further, like specifically. So I'm asking this also for my own sake, but does privacy equal security? So if you have good privacy, do you also have good security, and vice versa? Is it that simple, or is it a bit more complicated than that?
So that's in itself is a dynamic question, when we say like someone is private, so there is not a chance that they might be secure. Or when someone is secure, there might not be a chance that they are private. So that's the thing. Let's say like if you, but from a user perspective, when you see privacy and security, they are the different sides of the same coin as a user perspective. Why? Because you are trying to protect your data. Suppose you enable two-factor authorization on system, right? So you are just adding a layer of security that again on the ends, on the base level, enhances your privacy, that okay, you are just being more private. Or you might be using passphrases, right? So you are securing yourself, but on the same hand, you are getting rid of the passwords that might means used against your privacy. So that's again a good thing. And that's the best part when it comes to Web3. Like we don't have login ID and user passwords. We have wallets to log in. That's the thing. Like the privacy goes on next level when it comes to Web3. But as a Web2 user right now, again, like it's just how we see them. Because at some point they might be different. Like as an industrialist, they are different, but I want to collab them, right? Or I want to make money out of at least one thing. But from the user perspective, they both are needed. So that's the thing.
You mentioned the user perspective, and during our private conversations, you talked about that there's a difference between how corporations define privacy and security, and also how governments define privacy and security, versus how you think end users should see these concepts. So let's unpack that a little bit. What do corporations and governments define privacy and security as, and how should we as end users look at these same concepts?
All right. So that's quite a curious thing to explore in itself, as a user or as a daily or active user of internet, on daily basis, because all three things have a different perspective while they talk about internet, while they talk about privacy of their user, or about privacy or security, right? But keeping the focus on privacy, so when we start as an individual, so for an individual, privacy means personal cyber hygiene. Like I guess that's the right word. That's the perfect word to use. That it's your personal cyber hygiene when it comes to privacy, right? Like we should use strong passwords, enable two-factor authorizations, but also, not share much about on social, or to stay active that, okay, so we are private and we are also contributing that, okay, the app or the service I'm using stays good. So, users should actively report incidents that happen, that we let go. And again, we should be responsible for the use of technology, because being mindful is something that we need in this rapidly evolving digital world. Every day we see that new technology is coming in, and for that sake, we should really minimize the personal exposure to the internet. Okay, right? Suppose like I don't say that posting 10 photos on Instagram is wrong, but make sure that those photos can't be used against you, or like maybe putting your date of birth in a public space, right? So that can be cool, but again, at some level, it's again a threat to your privacy, to your security. But on the industry level, right? Like that's where the big monies flow, and even as an individual, they all we want to do is to, somewhere contribute somewhere. But at the base level, we want to earn money and get happy, right? So that's the human nature, and that's what industries do to leverage this thing, right? Because these days, or in the past couple years, the security standards have risen, but before that, privacy, or the user data was something that used to be played around, and we have seen many files, right? We have seen Facebook getting into court for this, and they have globally accepted that, yeah, they use it, they sell it up, right? Or we have domains that use our data, or what we think that means the ads we see, that the personalized ads that we see. Okay, I just searched up for a watch, and that soon comes up on my social media. So how do you think that that's happening, right? That's again sharing of your private or personal information, your personal search to companies. So that's what industries leverage. But to protect someone's privacy, usually they have security standards, that are implemented by governments, or that are made conform, or compulsory by government. So that's the thing. And followed by that, when we talk about government, so again, being a user of the digital world should not matter that from what part of the world you come from, or for means in which country you should reside. But it's the government, like the old legislative systems, that have been driving or controlling our access to the internet. So when it comes to government and privacy, so they are the legislation and the regulators, right? They decide that what are the laws, or what are the rules that should be implemented on the citizens for using internet, and for the information sharing itself, right? Because government can facilitate information sharing between public and private sectors to disseminate threat intelligence, or to practice what we say responsible data handling. So that's the thing. It's quite tricky when we see this, because all these three clouds somewhere collide with each other, sometimes they overlap with each other, but sometimes they are so discrete that okay, they need to be respected.
When it comes to governments, it's interesting because I'm obviously Europe-centric. I live in Europe, so I'm most familiar with what's going on here, and maybe in the US. But it looks like lately there's been quite a bit of buzz around privacy. There's more and more talk by legislators and politicians about big tech, and the dangers of hoovering up everybody's data all the time. There's also quite a bit of pushback, legally speaking, from the EU, which you see more and more often. So basically, today there's a new piece of legislation every day that's introduced to safeguard privacy. But also on the other hand, governments run surveillance programs as well. And they really like backdoors into your stuff, because they think that that's how you stop crime. So how do you parse this? Do you think governments overall are a net good for privacy, or are they a net bad for privacy? What do you think?
That's quite a tricky question. I really appreciate you for asking that, because government is the one that's protecting us, right? Because means at somewhere, like, we are physical beings, right? They are protecting us, but at the same hand, they are stopping us from accessing things that we are supposed to access, right? So it's more of an information control system rather than privacy. But when it comes to privacy, I don't think that government should be the one deciding all the rules and laws. It should be the people using it. Why? Because suppose I want to access something that's not allowed in India, so I have to either tunnel my data, or means have to use third party authorizations to just to get to the website or to the data. So that's not a good thing, right? But on the same end, what it is doing is like also protecting me from potential cyber crimes that I might become part of, knowingly or unknowingly. Yeah, I completely agree that means government loves to have backdoors on the users' data or on the citizens' data, but means that's why the Web3 is revolutionizing the internet that we use today. It's letting the data, it's securing the data as a tech part itself, rather than that you don't need anyone from the outside to secure your data. It's like getting done by default. So that is enabling the user to get hold of the privacy, to hold of the rules, to hold of the power in their hand, and decide what's to be done and what's not to be. So that's the thing. And somewhere at a personal level, I believe that government becomes a hindrance when it comes to the digital freedom of humans. So,
Power is an interesting question in this discussion, because obviously corporations and governments alike have a lot of power over you, especially when it comes to using the internet. For example, let's say from the corporate angle, let's say it's a reality that everybody's using Google products, right? So 99.2%, if I remember correctly, of website visits come from Google or something immense like that. So obviously, if tools that we use for our everyday lives have like not so private stuff baked in, and surveillance baked in, then we are sort of, if everybody uses them and they are really useful and they give you an advantage at work, they give you an advantage in your everyday life, then you're sort of forced to use stuff that is surveilling you. Same is true with governments, right? If a government says that ISPs are required to report on their end users, that's not a great thing. You have no way of fighting back against that. Maybe you do have the Nym mixnet though, so maybe that can help.
it's all about power at the end, because no one likes to be weak. And when you know that you're okay, so most importantly, not just weak, but to be a fool. Because when the internet was revolutionizing, means that goes back to 10 years, right? So when Google took over the internet, practically, because after they released Google Chrome, so it was a part that, means using or, means infiltrating someone's privacy was never the goal, but it became the motive because of the money that was being drawn out of it. And for that, means it doesn't matter that how much we blame the dark internet, but it's the crispy part, the big MNCs that are, means just chunking out all the data of the user. And that should be prevented as a, means for the, not just for the morals, but also for what we say, the user itself, right? For the sake of integrity and sake of confidence in the user that, okay, because we might feel that, okay, so we are getting a workspace, we are getting an ecosystem where everything is integrated to each other, all the data is stored at the same place. But that's not the thing, right? Because if something happens, suppose let's say you are private, right? Company respects your privacy, means and it's just an imaginary conditions, right? But suppose they respect your privacy, but still your data is still stored at a centralized location, which increases the risk factor of getting attacked, right? Or getting cyber attack. So that's the thing. Like, it's no matter what, no matter how much we try, like it's more of a triangle where, either we can protect our confidentiality, or we can protect our authentication, or we protect our data. So if we just try to protect any two of this, the other one will be lost. So that's the thing. And that's why, we are here at this Nym community call talking about how we are still, building the best part of the internet that has not been discovered yet.
Yeah. Now that was a bit abstract on both your part and mine. So let's go to something a bit more practical. So what are your top 3 practical tips for our dear audience to protect their online privacy?
Well, first of all, like, for the sake of humanity, like, just I'm speaking this as a security professional. For the sake of humanity, for the sake of the digital lifestyle that we live, please use strong and unique passwords, rather than having ABCD123 or means name of your loved one along with their birth date. Please don't, because we have all this data. We don't need it, right? So that's the thing. If password 123, believe me, I have seen these passwords in mainframes of multiple companies, right? So admin 123 has been passwords of multiple CCTVs, that we have been into. That's the thing. Like, just for the sake of humanity, don't use it. And for the tips, the core tips I would use, like, always be aware of, means always keep yourself aware that what's happening, what are the recent attacks, right? Suppose, means I hope everyone is adult here, so you might have ever come across, or you might have ever dreamt of building on WordPress. Believe me, that's the worst thing you can do on internet, right? Because it gets attacked every day. Multiple attacks, new vulnerabilities are there, and they can't just protect it because of the functionalities that they give. They're just losing it all day by day. You should use private browsing modes, right? Just like you should always try to tunnel your data, use VPNs or use Nym. Believe me, it's gonna save your life. use private browsing modes, like instead of Google, use DuckDuckGo, which don't care about your data, right? And along with that, make sure that you guys are well updated, and you reduce your personal exposure on the internet, like I said, because you might love posting, but like someone like me with a bad goal might be, keeping an eye on you just for finding the right point, where they can exploit you. And being vulnerable is like, that's the worst feeling that you can ever get.
Yeah, that's well said. Which actually I think brings me kind of nicely into to the last question that I had prepared for you. All of the stuff that you listed comes at a cost of convenience, right? So, for example, just let's go with this example. Let's say it's not a fact, okay? It's not confirmed, but maybe someone who isn't me is using password 123, maybe with a capital P, on every site where they register. Again, I'm not saying it's me, but it could even be me. It could be anyone, right? Let's not point fingers here. So that's way simpler, right, than creating a super unique, very long string of random characters, which have, special characters and like capital letters and numbers and all of that good stuff. So both remembering and entering password 123 for this hypothetical person. Actually, guys, it's not me. So don't try to log in password with password 123 on any of my accounts. I'm not using that password. I'm just kidding around. Okay. So, but it's way simpler. So there's already a cost and convenience. And I think as soon as you start unpacking this, whether it's privacy or it's security, there's always a huge trade-off in terms of convenience, right? So, how can something be convenient but not compromise on privacy and security? Do you have an answer for this at all?
When we talk about, suggesting someone for their passwords, again, if you're suggesting someone to change their passwords, that's like peeping into their privacy, right? That's the thing. But like being it practical, so I would suggest that, okay, you might hate it for, keeping a long password filled with characters, filled with all the weird alien looking stuff, right? That you have a @ you have a hash, you have a percentage in your like password. Everyone hates that. Believe me, even I do. But you are securing yourself. Or if you just don't want to, just keep it something discreet that's not related to you. Or, like in our call, we have someone like named as Cup of Crypto. That's really cool, right? So no one gonna think about that. Okay, so like you might be what we say. Let's say you are a farmer, right? You put your password or you keep your password like something. Oh, okay, crypto enthusiast, right? So that's gonna take time. Though it's not secure, it's gonna take time. But on the same hand, make sure that the base goal is not to keep the password that is related to you, and that's biased towards you, and also keep them changing after every 30 days. I know it's a hassle. I know, I hate it. Keep them changing for the sake of humanity. Again, it's not me who's gonna have fun with all the data that you will lost, right? And along with that, use authenticators if you are a Web2 users. But if you are Web3 users, we already have wallets. But if you are a Web2 user, use password authenticators, use passwordless logins, right? This the technology is so convenient, right? Because the Google is stealing your data, but on the same end, it's delivering you the product, which allows you not to remember your passwords, right? So that's the thing. It can help you out a lot. Or just use passphrases, right? Use several combinations of random words, right? The passphrases that we have for wallets, it's like, don't keep your passphrase of your wallet as your password. I'm not suggesting that, but use passphrases that are not related to you, or use strong password managers, or you can use hardware bit keys. So that's the thing. Like these are some of the basic tips, or some of the basic needs that we need to fulfill if we want to enjoy the internet that we are. Use Signal. Believe me, start using Signal, guys. Start using it. Such a good thing.
The Signal is a really good start. It's one of the truly privacy preserving messaging apps out there. It's also worth keeping an eye on the people who work for Signal, and then you'll understand that they are really here for the privacy fight. So yeah, it's great stuff. But it still has your phone number. It's not, so it cannot run big groups at all like Telegram can, and the only way to connect to people is with your phone number. You always have to expose that, which is not great.
That's the thing. But even if we say like when it comes to Telegram, I guess everyone here is aware that Nym can be easily integrated for free with the Telegram, right? If you guys are aware of it, just let me know in the chat section that I hope you guys are aware of it. Or you not, Selza or Suda, can you share the blog posts where they can easily integrate it for the mobile, for the desktop? Like, everyone can enjoy their privacy. So that's the thing.
I will ask our beautiful Salazar to please share the link to that one. And in the meantime, I'm going to share in closing my amazing password creation tip with you guys. Are you ready? It's really big brain. It's like 300 IQ stuff. So how you create a really strong password is that you take a song, any song that you know. It can also be, I don't know, a passage from the Bible or whatever, or a book that you know by heart, right? And you take the first letters of each word for, to create maybe like a 10, 16 character long string. And you change all the characters. If the song says 1, then that's going to be a 1. If there's an A in it, there's going to be an @ sign, and so on and so on. So you change as many things into numbers and special characters as you can, and you capitalize a few letters as well. You will always remember this because you know the song, right? You just need to sing the song, but from the outside looking in, it's going to be a totally random string of characters that is incredibly difficult to crack with brute forcing because you can't use any libraries because there's no words in it. Anyways, my pro security tips for you guys, 300 IQ. I hope everybody enjoyed. You can leave tips somewhere. I will share an address. Very useful stuff. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to use an address for tips. What do you think about that, Prasan?
If you want to explore something, you can, search around for rockyou.txt, that world's biggest password repository available freely on internet. You can find out all the compromised passwords being stolen or being sold on the market, on the darknet. And it's there. There might be a chance that you might find your old password there if it's password 123 or it's mom.123 or it's your username. So that's the thing.
Exactly. And there are also some services which check for this on their own.
Yeah. Or for the fun fact, you guys can check out Have I Been Pwned? So just let me share. Let me see if I can share it. So Have I Been Pwned? It's a website where you can check if your data has been compromised or not. It's a fun thing to do. It's a habit. Means you can keep a check that okay, data is not lost yet. So.
All right. Well, I guess that definitely brings me to the end of the questions that I brought to you. So do you have any closing thoughts before we get this weekend started?
Well, first of all, again, Nym Shipyard is coming. Don't miss it. Believe me, even I'm excited for it. And followed by that, just, means be secure and stay private for yourself rather than, means for someone else or for the sake of company, or rather than trusting it. Try to stay private for yourself. Keep supporting, and start or try to be a daily active Web3 user, rather than a Web2 one. Try to use, even for scrolling YouTube, just try to use the platforms that are there based on Web3, doing something similar, right? I won't say same, but something similar. And followed by that, means if you guys need, just talk us around and we are always here. That's the thing.
Yeah. So definitely advice number 1, join Shipyard to learn all there is to know about privacy. And when it comes to using Web3, sure, great stuff, but don't have the assumption that everything is by default private in Web3 because it's not. Yeah. That's partially what Nym is here for. It is going to be at some point if our vision manifests, but not quite yet. So be careful and always know what you're using.
And that's the thing, means we can't be 100% private at any time of the life till day, until and unless we release something crazy. But beside that, everything is cool. Stay private, stay protected. That's the thing.
Yeah. Well, on that note, I would like to thank you for coming on. It's been a pretty fun chat. I hope to have you back on at some point.
All right. I would love to. It has been a pleasure to be here, right? And I would really it will be a pleasure to talk to the community once again. And if you guys have anything, just ping me up here around the Discord. So I will reply you. Or we can just have a nice chat over security. What do you think? Or, you can exchange your passwords, right?
Yeah. I already sent you my passwords yesterday. He asked for it. I don't know why he asked for it, but if I get asked a question, I never ask more questions. I always comply. That's how I roll. So yeah, my passwords now are secure. And on that note, I would like to wish a lovely weekend to everybody. The call once again was recorded, so if you didn't catch the first bits, then you'll get to listen to the call at some point once it's uploaded to our YouTube channel. Big thank to everyone for joining. question to Mr. J, the pizza man. Is there a POAP for this beautiful community call? So please continue to keep an eye on the Nym stage chat, and at some point he will be sharing instructions on how to claim your POAP. And yeah, have a great weekend, everybody. And thanks again for coming on, Prasan. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Surya, for hosting us. Like, thank you. I will be.
Take care, everyone.
See you around.
You too. Bye-bye.